Now, if you don't build in this video, you'll get one of the best introductions you'll ever get to regular expressions, how to create them, and sometimes where to use them. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and thanks for tuning in to this encore performance of Watch Me Work livestream number 6, featuring Peter Van Westen of RegularLabs.com. Now, if you don't build websites with Joomla, don't worry, because this live stream has tons of information packed into it for you on using regular expressions and creating them, as I said in the intro. But if you do use Joomla for making web pages, stick around to the end and hang out with Peter Van Westen from RegularLabs.com. He's one of the most prolific and popular extension programmers for Joomla, and we had a nice visit with him towards the end. So without further ado, let's get this encore performance going, brought to you by... That's it. Peter's been sitting there very patiently waiting. Hello, Peter.
Hi there.
Thank you for doing this today. Peter, you are the founder, owner, and genius behind Regular Labs.
Genius, I don't know, but yes, I'm the founder.
Is there anyone else behind it?
No.
That would make you the genius then. So, anyways, for those that may not know you personally, just know your extensions, you want to tell us just a little bit of your Joomla story, how you ended up doing Joomla? Oh, and by the way, I should say, you notice that Peter and I are dressed very similar. That's because we are the result of a scientific experiment in the 60s. And I was implanted right away, but Peter wasn't thawed out for 12 years. So fraternally, we're brothers. That's why we like to dress alike.
Oh, that's right.
Or he sent me a sweater this summer, and I thought I'd wear it today. Whichever story you like. All right, Peter, what's your Joomla story?
I started messing around with Mambo. So just before it split off into Joomla, for a website for a church I was trying to build. And then I moved on to Joomla, and I came across a couple of stuff I wanted to do in the website, which wasn't possible with Joomla. So I mucked around in the code, and then the first update came and all my changes were gone. So then I thought, how do I do this? And started messing around with extensions and mainly plugins. And after I had a couple, I thought I'd like to just give them away. I put in the work, so why not just let others use them? So then I set up a little website. I didn't really want my name attached to it, but NoName.nl was already taken, so I took NoNumber.nl, and that was where the first name came from. So I was previously known as NoNumber. And then it grew from there, from a hobby to later a business, which has gone pretty well. And a few years ago, I changed the name to Regular Labs. And I'm still going after, 10 years about. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll be more than 10 years for a Mambo, right? Is it? I think Joomla's 14.
2007, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I started my company in 2008.
Okay. Now, were you a programmer before?
No, not really. I messed around with computers since I was a kid, but no, I don't have any education or past with coding. So it's pretty much all self-taught.
Okay, so that's pretty impressive to go from pretty much nothing formal to what you're doing. I have also come from nothing formal to what I'm doing.
Well, there you go.
And very, very, yeah. Hence
if we can do it.
Hence the reason why we're having this live stream today, because in a couple of Watch Me Work live streams, I think it's maybe 2 or 3, they're on the channel, we can check them out there. I was doing some things with ReReplacer. No, not ReReplacer. Yeah, ReReplacer, which is one of Peter's extensions. And I did a whole bunch of things. It took me, I don't know, an hour and a half to do a bunch of things. And I thought, which is way better than doing it manually. But then Peter sent me a note. He says, oh, you could probably just done that in a couple of minutes with this little code. And I had no idea that you could put regular expressions in that extension there. And really had very little idea what regular expressions were, other than, I guess, is it a what is it? Is it a programming language or is it?
Yeah, it's a language, or better, it's a syntax to create searches, smart searches, and also replacements. So yeah.
So that's all it does. Just searches or replacements. It's not.
Yeah. So it's a search syntax or a search language.
What are some programming languages that you can use regular expressions in then?
Well, pretty much all languages, all programming languages have some form of support for regular expressions. So, I use PHP, but also JavaScript. You can do stuff in there. And not only programming languages, but also editors like you've been messing around with Notepad++.
Yep.
Which also supports it, and most code editors support it. So you can use it in a whole range of scenarios.
Great. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this, and I know other people are looking forward to it. So go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
And I will get my handy dandy notepad here. If you're watching and you have questions, just put them in chat. Or if you want to hang on to afterwards, if you're going to join us on Zoom, you want to ask them, then go ahead. And I'll try to keep a watch on that. And I think it's going to go full screen as soon as you share. If not, I'm going to have to figure out how to do that on Zoom here. Because you know how it is around here. It's figured out as you go. There we go.
Should be sharing now.
Yeah, no, I wonder, just a sec, view options.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in full, okay, let's see. That's nice. How's that look on the screen here? Because we're still off to the side, so let me just...
Wow, this is cool.
Uh-oh.
This is looking into the matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, it's hard to find good help around here. Let's see, 1%. That is not it.
So what's the problem?
I just thought I would try to go full screen here. Get us off the side so people can see better. And that's... oh, I got rid of one of us. Enter... No,
You can leave it. I think people can see.
Okay, you go ahead. If I find something, then...
Okay. So regular expressions. So it's a search syntax. So it's pretty much used to be able to dynamically search for stuff. And let me see. You might know the asterisks, which we can use in some programs. Like we want to search for a file that starts with Apple and then an asterisk for anything behind it.
Okay.
Well, it's pretty much we call that wildcards, and regular expressions is pretty much that, but on steroids. So it's much powerful, more powerful than that. But essentially, when you have regular expressions on, essentially every character is interpreted as a regular expression part. So here we have, is it large enough?
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
So let's say this is our string we're searching in. Then if we search for the letter A, like with normal, I'll do a replacement. That makes it a bit easier. Replacement.
Now, are you on a web page? Oh, you're at PHP Live Regex.com.
I'm on PHP Live Regex.com, which is one of many online tools to mess around with regular expressions. I've got a few here, and they all pretty much do the same. I think this one has the best overview.
And you said regex instead of, I usually say regex, but I guess you're right because it's regular expressions.
Yeah, I'm always right. So anyway, so if you search for an A and you replace it with an X, then here you can see the results. We have an X there, and so that's pretty much the same as any old search. But it gets interesting if you use special commands in there. Now these commands are different characters, and there's a whole range of different characters with special meanings. And just to explain that at the start, like for instance, the dot is a character, and the dot means any character possible. So a space or a letter or a comma or a digit, it's all matched with a dot. So as you can see here, we have the AS from last is here replaced with an X. And here it's an X. We might make it a bit better to see that way. So this is all replaced. So that's an A followed by any character you can think of. But also, if you have like an A with a dot after it, these are all replaced. So that's an A with an A after it, which is a match, and another A with an A, and also an A with a dot. Those are all matched with this command. Now you might want to match only an A with an actual dot after it. And in that case, we need to escape the special character. We do that with a /. So that's just to get us started, that if you have a special character that you actually want to search for, like a dot or a parentheses or whatever, then you can escape it with a /. And now, as you can see, it only matches that last A dot.
Now, I noticed that back when you had, without the escape, there's 5 A's. You had 5 A's together, and that turns into 3 X's. So,
yes.
So it processes one and then moves on to whatever's next that's left over, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it searches for an A with any character. So it matches this.
Okay.
And it replaces that, and then it tries to find the next one, which is this one.
Okay.
And then this one.
So if you wanted to replace only A's, you take out the period, and then it just would do that. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you can use a dot for any character you can think of. And then let's say do A dot T. And in this case, it will do the A. It searches and it finds the A. Then it finds any character it wants. So that's an S in this case, and then a T. And it replaces that. So that could be anything with an M and with a space even.
Would it,
not with a space.
If the T is more than one character away, it'll still pick it up?
Oh, sorry, I missed the T. So in this case, it matches it. If you have 2 spaces, it doesn't, because this is just one character.
Okay.
So we can make that more interesting, like if you want to have any number of characters in between. Then we have 2 characters, special characters we can use for that. First is a star. And as you can see, now it does this, which means it matches any amount of characters. So the star controls the character before it, which in this case is the dot. And this tells it to match any amount of characters you can think of any amount of this wildcard character. So it matches this one, and it just goes on searching. And instead of stopping with the first T, it grabs as much as possible. So this is all captured with this little part.
Okay.
And then the ending T,
so it's,
which results in this.
So oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we call that greedy.
Yeah.
So regular expressions are greedy by default. And in some cases you want that. I find that in most cases you don't want that. We want it to be non-greedy. And we can change that by following this star with a question mark.
Somebody just followed.
Sorry?
That's what that sound is. Somebody just followed.
Oh, yeah. So now it's non-greedy, which means that it stops as soon as it finds whatever is after it. So here it matches this one, And it goes here, any amount till it finds this one, and here till that.
Okay.
Remove this. But this also means that if you have a cat, for instance, then it will find this searching from here till there. Let's see, we'll just move this one away. Just do a new line. Like that. So now you can see it matches the A and the T, but there is no character in between it. That's because this star tells it can be 0 or more times. If you want it at least one time, you replace that with a plus, and now it needs to be at least once or more. So a cat will match, but a cat will also be the same.
Okay, and the plus, so the plus is at least once?
Yeah, and the star is 0 or more.
Star is 0 or more. Okay, 0 or more. And so can you do, so if plus is at least once, what would you do for at least twice? Do you do +2 or?
Well, the easiest solution here is just to have 2 dots.
Oh, okay.
The first one will just match any character, and the second one says it has to have another character once or more. So this is 3 or more times. There are other ways to do this. You could do this, 2, comma. You say it should be 2 to 4 times. But if you leave out the last number, it says 2 to as many as you want. But in most cases, it's easier to just do this. This means an A followed by 2 characters followed by a T, which in this case is only here. That's this part. Okay. An A followed by 2 characters followed by a T.
All right. Well, I'm super glad this is getting recorded, so.
But you can watch it again.
Yeah. Just on that note, we got 8 people watching now. If you want to chat and you haven't followed the channel, follow. There's a 10-minute delay for you to ask any questions, and we're just getting into this, so you'll still have time for that. So go ahead and follow here on Twitch if you want to chat, or hang around till afterwards. We'll share the Zoom link. Okay, go ahead.
So that's the stuff that you will probably use most. But we'll just get into some examples. Let's say we have some HTML we want to search through. This. Mm-hmm. And we want to match this character. Well, we could do this, and it matches the first one.
Okay.
But let's say we have a span in here as well. And let's say we want to remove all tags. But in that case, we would have to do one character, have it more than once, but at least once, and have it non-greedy, because now you can see it's matching this whole thing. So we want it non-greedy. And now you can see it's replacing all the tags. Well, we could replace with nothing. And there you have a clean string, no HTML tags.
Okay.
Now this is super handy for if you're in this program, but it's even easier if you use a, I have to switch screens now, probably. How do I do that?
Stop sharing. If it's not a, are you sharing your desktop or did you share Chrome?
I think I shared Chrome.
Okay, so stop sharing that screen and then,
oh, yeah.
or unless it's another tab there. So.
Okay, here we go.
Wow, there's a big Tim.
I can share the desktop as well. Maybe that's easier. Well, desktop too. There we go. Okay, so we can switch. This is Sublime Text. I'm using a Mac, so I don't have Notepad++.
Okay, so that's
Sublime, which is pretty much the same thing. This is a bit more powerful, I believe. So we can do that in here as well. So if you have like a bit of HTML that you want to clean up, you can just place it into your notepad or this one. You can just search for a tag and star question mark. Yeah. And remove everything. Here you can see it's already marking that. Replace all, and we have a tidy little bit of code. So that's cool.
Yeah.
See, what else can we do? But let's say we only want to have a p tag. Like that. And let's also make one that is, I will make it, yeah, we'll first do this one. Let's say we only want to remove the P tags. If we say it should start with a P, then it will match these, which is great. But let's say we have another one, I can't think of an existing one, but let's say this one exists, or I don't know, whatever. Then you can see it's also matching this one, which we actually don't want. So you say, well, it has to have a space after it. Well, we can do that, but then it's not matching the first one. So there it gets interesting. Like, how do we match this one and that one, and also the closing tags, but not this one? So in that case, we come to conditional search stuff, which means that in this case we have a match now. We'll first try to match this one. So actually, we're saying, or it has to be this space dot star question mark, or it has to be nothing. So the way you can do that is surround this with parentheses and then put a question mark behind it. What this tells it is that this group of search is optional by telling it with a question mark. You can also say it has to be 0 or more times with a star, which doesn't really make sense here. Or a plus, that it has to be 1 or more times, which also doesn't really matter here. So the question mark is the best one. And as you can see here, we have a question mark here, and they both have different meanings. The first one is making this non-greedy, and the second one is saying this group is optional. Sorry, okay. This group is optional. So we're getting into complicated characters with multiple meanings, and this is just a matter of using it often enough and you get to wrap your brain around it.
Well, the great thing is to be able to test things like this, because you can put in the example of what you want to be replacing and then start testing it and seeing if it works properly, and then you're not flying blind in your mind, which is great, because I think where I get hung up is as you're trying to figure out what it is you want to do and what the options are, and there's no way to test it, and so in which case then I usually just ask you on Skype how to do it. So
yeah, like many do.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I don't need to be special.
I've said before, I even dream in Regex. It makes everything a lot faster, so I'm done dreaming in like 10 minutes and can get the rest of the night just normal sleep. Cool. So yeah, we left off here. So this is optional. So we've got 3 characters to define if something should or shouldn't be there. That's the question mark is 0 or 1 time. The star is 0 or more times, and the plus is 1 or more times. So this would be pretty okay. And it's just this one that we still need to match. Well, we can do that in 2 different ways. We can either place this one here. Now you can see it's matching this one, but not the first one.
Yeah.
and say this one is optional. And how do we do that? With the question mark.
Question mark, okay.
So we say the same as we did here. We say this thing is optional as well.
Okay.
So it's now matching all four, and it would even match something like this. Because it's saying this one is optional, and it's here. And there's a space with extra stuff that is optional as well, which is here. You will never see that in a closing tag. Anyway, so this works. Another way to do this is you can make lists of stuff it should match. So we'll just remove this for now. Just point it over there. What you can do is say, and we're going to use the parentheses for that again. You can say it should match a DF or an HD, for instance. And I can see all the DFs and HDs are matched. And you can make this list as long as you want. So as soon as I do that, it's matching it. Well, essentially, we can do that with this as well. We have this one, and then we can place a P after that, which works as well. And you can see that it gets a bit unreadable pretty quickly, especially if you don't know what all these characters mean.
Yeah.
And there's multiple ways to do the same thing. Here we're looking for an opening tag and a closing tag.
Yeah.
But these opening and closing, what you call them, arrow thingies, are the same in both. So essentially you could also do this. And that would be the same. No, it isn't. It would be like this.
It's a good thing I have a hoodie on, because when my brain blows out the back of my head, it's going to catch it. So.
So is this going too fast?
No, well,
If there's something you don't follow, please say, because the other 7 people might not follow.
No, well. And if there's any questions, they can ask. And the pipe that you have there, right?
Yeah.
So is that sort of like when you gave the example before, you had 4 different things separated by pipes. So that's basically saying find anything, either of these.
Yeah. So it's an or. So
okay.
It's this or that.
Okay.
And then it will match this, that. Set this. I wrote that.
Okay.
So it's matching both these now. So this is the or sign in a group, and the reason this is a group is because of these parentheses. But also you can use a group in the replacement, which we'll get in a little bit. So that's that. Let's see what else. So a live. Oh yeah, we'll get into the grouping, which is pretty fun.
Now, if you have multiple groups, it's still looking. They all have to be true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do like this. So this would match this or that, then a space, then an X, then a space, and then again this or that, which would be. I'll just move that over here, which is this. Or it can be this, or that, or this, that. So this little search has 4 different strings it would match. But it would also match that in vector. So it doesn't care about what's behind it.
And you have, what's in between the X, there's spaces?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just normal spaces.
That.
So that's how grouping works. So with a simple, you can imagine that the more stuff you put in here, the more different variations there are on what it's actually matching.
Okay.
let's go back to this example.
Which I think is something where what I was working on with ReReplacer, I didn't. There's some things that I didn't want to. Anyway, okay, yeah, it's making sense. Yeah, it's making sense. The lights are coming on in my head. Basically, if there's something unique in a line and words occur lots in it, you can just say this has to be here. Find this. Okay.
Yeah. So let's say we have this example. And so the way we want to match these tags is via an H and a 1, for instance, and have the closing thing, sorry, one way around, closing thing optional. So now it's matching this one. This is pretty clear, I think. So this one is optional and this one should be there. But now we want to do, we want to match H1, 2, and 3, but not 4. So how do we do that? Well, we could do 1, 2, 3, which works.
Yeah.
But if this is only 3 options, but maybe you have some kind of setup where you have like 20, you're trying to match a letter,
yeah,
and it's 26 options. So a easier way to do that is by ranges, and we do that with the block brackets, braces, or whatever you call them. And here we can do 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Or 1, 2, 4.
Okay, now I've seen, yeah, and I've seen those in HT access rules. Is that regex?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where, okay, that's where the braces seem familiar to me.
Yeah, so
okay.
in HT access you have regex as well.
Okay, nice.
Well,
I won't show you one HT access file that I have for my biggest site that's changed so much over the years, because I have so many individual lines, because I'm going to be able to revisit then and probably shave those down.
Okay.
Now, is there a way to say, another way you could do that is anything that's not a 4?
Yes, you can do that as well. Let me do this.
Yeah.
I'll just do another one here. So if you say any, we'll first fix this thing. So we have a class in here again.
Mm-hmm.
So the same that we did before with the p tag. What we can do is say after it, there should be a space and then anything behind it, non-greedy, and we make it optional, like that.
Okay.
So now we're matching everything again. But you say we want everything except the 4 in here. So the way we do that, well, just the 4 matches the 4.
Okay.
And then these braces, yeah, they don't really have anything, any function here. And to do something that is not, we use this little fella.
Okay.
Which is, we call that a, I don't know in English.
I don't know what that is. It might be a...
The shift,
yeah.
shift 6.
Shift 6. I want to think it's a chevron, but I don't know.
In Dutch, we call it a little hat.
Oh, Vinny says it's a carat, C-A-R-A-T, or
yeah.
carat. What's the carat or carat? First pronunciation or second, Vinny? Carrot?
I would say carrot.
Okay. Well, like you said, you're always right.
Yep.
But he's going to type it in what it is. Oh, he spelled it wrong. All right, he's going to type what it is. Oh, carrot, C-A-R-R-O-T.
It's like this. I don't know.
Anyway. Yeah, C-A-R-R-O-T, like the, I think, what's a carrot's a vegetable, right?
We'll have Google. Carrot. Like this.
Oh, Oh, okay. Never mind. Vinny's laughing at me again. He's okay. So he typed carrot equals carrot, but it's spelled carrot,
Yeah, yeah. He
but it's
says
pronounced
okay.
carrot.
So this one says it's nothing in this block group.
Okay.
But you can also say it's not 1 to 3.
Okay.
And here it's matching 4 and 5, which is cool.
Can you put a pipe inside a block?
Here?
Yeah, so
no.
it's like nothing 1 to 3, and then also not 5.
Well, you could do this. No, you can't do that. How would we do that? What you could do is do this.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No.
that's not right.
But in this case is where you, instead of trying to do it, you would just say 4.
Yeah. You can have groups in here. So you could do this, and close the group, and or F5. I think that would work.
Yeah. But you mean 1 to 3 there, not 30.
Let's see. No, that doesn't work. How would you do that? You can't use a comma. I don't know how you would do that. I have to get back to you on that.
Cool. Well, I say, hey, don't sweat it, man. Now you're just making yourself at home like I do usually.
Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so you have a. Let's say you also have an HR in there. Problem here is you say now it's not a 2, 3 or it's not a 4, but it's also matching an R now. So then you can tell it to say it shouldn't be a 4, but it should also not be a letter. So you could do an A to C there, A to Z,
which
is British English, A to Z.
And A to Z is a range.
Yeah, and it depends whether your setting of regular expression is case sensitive or not. In this one, it's not by default. So it's matching this as well. If I switch on case sensitivity, you'll see it doesn't match anymore. And also not the HR. And the way you can prevent that, let's see. Shouldn't be, oh yeah, it should match this one. But you can do this if it's case sensitive.
Okay.
Just do capital A to Z. But then also this one should be an H or an H if it's case sensitive, because you have to have both checking.
H is or?
Yeah, so this is a block. So then every character you put in there is just, you can put as many as you want. The other syntax that we spoke about earlier is doing it in this fashion. So this is also possible.
Okay.
But with simple stuff, it's with only one character stuff, it's easier to do this. And the advantages of not using a group is that it's also not captured in memory. And what I mean by that is that we have, you can use groups in the replacement, which is where I wanted to go with this. But
okay.
So we'll just move this away for now.
Now, a range can be A to H or any letter. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So ranges are with letters, and numbers can be anything you want. So let's say we have this little piece of code. We only want the 1, 2, 3. And let's say we want to replace them, or let's say we want to replace 2 to 4 and replace them with H1s. Now, as you can, we'll move this over to this one, because then we can see the replacement on the side, which is a bit easier. So let's say we want all these to become H1s,
Okay.
which is working now, but we also have H1 closing opening tags at the end, and we're losing the class. So this is not very good, or not very smart. So what we actually want to do is remember what is here, and remember the closing tag that we grabbed. And we can do that by wrapping them in parentheses. And this is already in a parenthesis, only this question mark is outside it. So we'll do this double. So now we've actually got 3 groups. So we've got this thing, we've got this, and inside there another little group. And we can use them in the replacement, and we should see it here. Pretty much all. So we have, how does this picture it?
So this is, okay, now this part I recognize from HT-Access rules because it's a string basic, and each group gets numbered the way it's found first.
Yeah, it's grouping this in a way I don't really want. Anyway, this one is better. Yeah. So here it's showing the groups. So the first match here is the 0 is the entire thing that it matches. Okay. So that's this one. The first group is this one, is the leading slash, which is not here. So it's empty. Then it matches the second thing. And this is pretty much the same. The problem is if we don't do that, then you can see that there is no number 2 here we can call. And if we do, we always have this number 2 thing, even if it's empty, because we need to be able to reference it. So in the replacement, what we can do is we can call on this group via a leading /1. You can see that in the replacement. So leading /1 is the first group. And as you can see, it's placing this closing thing that it's found in there now. Okay. Then we can place the leading /2 for group 2. And pretty much we're done now, because we have H1, which is keeping the class, and here H1 as well. Now, if we also wanted to remember the H1 thing and place that, I don't know, this was a... Now, you can see that now it has the H2 here instead of the class. This is because we added a new group, which is now number 2, and this is now number 3. So we should change this to number 3, and then in here, you see.
How do you end up with the space between H1 and the class? Because you don't have a space up there.
Here?
Yeah.
Well, we have here the captured group here. Number 3 is it
all
now?
the space is part of the captured group.
We're matching a space and then anything after it. So it's the group we're referencing also already has that leading space in there. So you could do this, but then you have 2 spaces. It is more readable, but not smart.
Okay.
So that's how you can access groups. Now, a live example of what I did yesterday, I came across something. I was doing some JavaScript testing, and so this is a piece of jQuery JavaScript, which attaches a like a click action. So anywhere on the HTML page you click, it will attach that once, and it will throw a console click into the browser console. That's this thing here that you can push text towards. That's better than using alerts for everything. And I wanted to do this for all possible events, just to test the, it doesn't really matter what for, but it was to test the difference in ordering and when stuff is triggered between touch screens and normal screens. So here we have a whole list of events from here to there, which I want to have, we can copy this and place it in a new one. So this is 85 different events that we can use in there. But I don't want to write this out 85 times and then replace this and replace that.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of work. So here we go with regular expressions. So what I did first is clean this up. So essentially every line starts with the word, and then it has a tab and then some more text. And I want to get rid of the ending stuff. So what I did was I searched for a tab, which is fine in regular expressions, so it matches the tab.
Yeah.
And then I want to match any character behind it.
Did you just copy and paste that tab?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get a tab in. Otherwise, if you do a tab, it moves.
It only shows up highlighted, but I've done that before too. But
so you just copy and paste the tab, and then any character after it, 0 or more times, or 1 or more, doesn't matter in this case. So a star, and here you can see that it matches everything from the tab till the end of the line. So we can just replace that with nothing. And bam, we have a clean list of 85 things with just one little search and replacement. So that's a lot easier than, well, other ways to do this is to copy and paste this into Excel and then copy the first column because it's tab separated, or do it manually. So this is very fast.
Well, yeah, and totally. And now I can see too a use for, because you can copy what's on your screen there now and paste it somewhere.
Yeah, and so now you can use it somewhere else. But I want to make this code. So we can do that with regular expressions as well. So first I want to place this before it and this after it, and then have the search again, and then this after it. So pretty much what we want to do is we can place this here. Here is our wildcard thing. We want something here and something there. So whatever we search for, we want to replace with this whole string. So how do we grab this? Well, that's pretty easy. We can just do this because it's starting from the beginning and ending there. We just need, we could potentially leave it at this and do the 0, but I'm not sure it works in this program.
So you already did the replace all to get to this list then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that. But
just did the replacement.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first replacement was getting rid of all the trailing stuff.
All right.
And now we want to each line we want to convert to this one. And this is something I never know which one to use. Some programs use a slash to reference the group. Some use a $sign. And in JavaScript, it's a $sign, and in PHP, it's a slash.
Okay.
And every program has its own flavor of choosing which one to use. So there are more different flavors or differences in different flavors of programming languages that use regex. But this is probably the only one you'll run into. The rest is pretty high advanced stuff.
Yeah, because htaccess uses the $sign, the string sign.
Yeah, so, and that would be a 0, because 0 matches the entire string. We'll just try it. That worked, so I just chose the right one. So now we did one replacement for all 85 lines. And in each line, we have the wheel here and wheel there, toggle there and toggle there. So it was that easy.
Nice. Andy's got an example here in the chat in the Twitch chat. of an example he used. They replaced bolded paragraph with H3 heading. So he looked for search, and then he searched for paragraph strong, and then it looks like anything in between, and then the ending strong in the paragraph and replaced with heading 3, and then string 1 heading 3. Cool.
Like this. So anything you want in here, you want to have an H3. And we'll just create some differences.
I know we've got a chat somewhere, you and I. I'll look and open this. And yeah, this is the example he put. You probably don't have the Twitch chat open, so that maybe showed up to everyone.
Open it. Chat. You can try that. So here we have a thingy, the bob.
Thingy bob.
That's what we call it. So why is this not working?
Is it?
It should match the first one.
Would it be string 1 in the replace, or yeah? Oh, I guess not even.
No, replacement doesn't matter yet.
Okay.
For searching. Let's see. That's working. That should be okay. Oh, I can see why it's not.
Andy says that's weird.
I forgot the ending, the slash. Stupid. Okay.
There you go.
So what we have here in the search is we have the P opening and closing tags. Then we have a group of everything except for a opening thingamabob. And then the ending strong and ending P tags.
Vinny, what's that character? What's that character? I know it's a less than sign and greater than.
I don't know if there's another word for it.
Vinny's going to type it. He knows everything.
Greater or
big.
Less than. What's the word for these? The tag, HTML tag characters. We'll call them tag character. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got
my crack team is working on it right now, even as we speak. Vinny is hyper vigilant when I'm doing live streams because he's forever got my back trying to figure out what I'm doing here. So. Well, this is really cool because this, one of the things that's dawning on me here is to get this is find and replace well beyond what most software packages offer when you're looking for something. Because I often have to find and replace all the paragraph marks, find and replace all the heading 3s, find and replace all the other things, just keep going through and through and through. But this is going to be a great framework to start figuring out, and especially using a tool like you are, like on Sublime or Notepad++. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's we're not even touching Joomla code or anything. It's just for whatever you happen to have. So yeah, but this example we have here, the problem here, it's only matching 2 of the 5 examples we have here, and that might be what you want. That you don't want it to replace this syntax or this one. I guess in this case you probably do. Depends on what you're searching for. But we can fix that, so we'll just do that. So in this case, what we have here is Whitespace in between, in here as well. And there is a tag for Whitespace, which is /s, and if we have that, then you can see it has to match. Now it has to match one Whitespace character. And a whitespace is a space or an enter or a tab. And there's different types of enter, so it matches those.
Something you can't see.
But we want that 0 or more times. It's got to be optional, and there can be more. Now, you think that it, let's see, and we have the same thing at the end. And now you can see it's matching those and that one. And the only one that's not matching yet is this last one, and that's because we're saying it needs to be anything except for a HTML tag starting character. Which I guess in this case we wanted or Andy wanted. You could simply just replace this with the string we had earlier. It's the dot star question mark. Now you can see that it's not matching this one because there's enters in here. And that depends a bit on your program. In PHP, this wouldn't be a problem. It would still match. But editors usually search line by line, and it's not seeing the enter as a. It's not including that in the dot. So that's an option you have to toggle, which is off in this program by default.
Now, last week when Vinny was showing us Notepad++, he showed how when you paste into a tab, you can actually set that tab to be displaying the type of code, whether it's PHP or something. So I wonder if that.
Yeah, that's pretty much only for the code syntax.
Oh, okay, so it's not gonna search differently than seeing that it's
here
PHP.
As well. I can place this in HTML and it will give colors.
All right, so okay.
Now this is a regular expression option you have, and in here you can you have extra options which are basically letters that you can. Where's this thing in the way? Right for you. This bar is in the way of my.
I'll just say, if for those of you that are watching, if you want to ask a question, do it in chat. If you haven't followed the channel yet, there's a 10-minute delay between people following and being able to chat. So go ahead and follow. We've had 2 people do that already. And in a little bit, we're going to share the link for the Zoom call if you want to talk voice and video's optional. If you want to show your face, that's great. If not, no worries.
So to get back to the search thing, so this is matching every character except for an enter, which is basically the gist of it. And if you don't have an option here ready to switch that on, that a dot also matches a new line, then you can simply do the bracket thing and say it has to be a dot or a space character. And why is this not working? I have no idea. It should. So now it's matching nothing. Well, we'll do it this way then. This is a way as well. The other way should work as well, but probably this Sublime is a bit more picky on what kind of stuff you can use. So now it's either a dot, which is any character, or any white space.
Okay, any character or any white space.
I'm really
and then you're
struggling to see why this is not working. Oh, there we go. Capital S, for whatever reason. I don't know.
Is that because you have case sensitive still on?
No, this is something else.
Okay.
There's a difference in a capital S and a.
And you're only replacing still one string, everything in between those. So if it matches, then replace what was there, but change the headings on both sides.
Yeah, so here we have the $1, which refers to this stuff in the middle. And we can go back to this program because then we can see the actual output and placement side by side. Probably see that if we, so here it's all working, You could say, also say that any leading and trailing spaces before and after the actual content has to be removed. So that's working. So there you can see that it's removing number 2 as well, all this surrounding space, and we can probably remove this one in here. No. Okay, then we can't. That doesn't make a difference. Yes, it does. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Huh.
So this is a way you can alter HTML like that. And again, you can make it smarter and make it be able to capture classes or anything in here, which it isn't now. So you can do what we did earlier, was say it can use space and multiple other characters behind it, and that would be optional, which makes this group number 1 and this group number 2. So we would have to either change this or tell it to not group this. And that's another syntax I'll just throw in there. You don't really need to remember it. But if you're picky and you don't want memory to be if you're doing this in a program like Sublime Text or whatever, it's no problem. But if you're doing it in PHP programming, it's better to not group stuff you don't really need.
Okay.
So it's just using memory. You can negate that by this question mark dot dot.
Okay.
Colon. So now you can still use group 1. So this is group 1, and this is not actually a captured group. And as you can see here, the question mark now has another meaning in combination with this. So we've got 3 question marks here in this little bit, and they each have a different meaning, which is crazy, but that's the way it works.
Well, a lot of languages do that too. So, so the question mark and the colon is basically saying see this, but don't remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would be a great option for a lot of us to see things and not remember them.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's pretty much the basics of it. What would be cool now is to just find a nice regex for emails, for instance, because these are known to be really complex. Sorry, we can do that with this site. This is regular -expressions.info, which is a website that explains a lot about it, which is a good thing to keep handy for searching what stuff means and what it does.
I'll get you to send me. The links of every page that you've been to, and I'll put it in the description when I put it on the YouTube channel.
Okay. And I believe they had here's the reference. For an example. Yeah, so here come the crazy stuff.
Okay.
Matching email addresses. So this is one regular expression.
That's crazy.
So that's this, which is crazy. We'll just take a little.
So that's when I ask you how to do something on Skype. This is the same thing for you, only you just go on to a web page.
Yeah. So we'll take a little bit of a more easy one. That's this. And if we break it down, then this isn't as complex as it might sound. So what I didn't explain yet is this character, the caret, means it's not this, but it only means that if it's inside the block thingies.
Okay.
When it's at the front of a string, it means this should be the start of the search string. And I can give you an example of that. Cats. This is a cat. If we do a regular expression search for cat, but we want it to only match if it's at the start of the sentence, we put the caret in front of it.
Okay.
If we only want it to match at the end, we put a $sign behind it, which is at the end here as well.
Oh, okay.
So the $sign and the caret also mean the start or the end of the string we're searching in.
All right, so that's our second use for the $sign and second use for the caret.
Exactly. So if you do both in this case, then it will only match a sentence that only has cat, and not cats or not anything in front of cat.
So the caret is not when it's inside of a range?
Yeah, inside the blocks.
Okay, inside the blocks, okay.
So if this was here, it would say it should be anything except this, which we don't want in this case.
Okay.
So that's that one. We'll just break it down like this a bit. Let's see. I actually don't know what the plus is about. I've never seen that before. Oh, there's a simpler one.
1 plus is at least 1?
Yeah, I think that's also language dependent.
Okay.
But we'll do this one. Like this. This was the full string, and we'll just break it down so you have a group and then a plus. So pretty much this means this group should be 1 or more times, or this range. And this range can be any letter. And I guess this is not case sensitive because you also want small letters in this. So any letter, any number, and then this is actually wrong. This article is explaining how you can create it. So not all examples are actually working because it's telling you what's wrong with this one and how you should correct it.
Oh, okay.
And eventually it ends up with this long thing. But I would say this has to be escaped because you don't want to match any character. It should match a dot. And it should match an underscore. And these two, or these. So any of these, it should match.
Okay.
Which are possible characters that can be in the first part of a...
I never thought about putting a percentage character in an email.
You can actually. I think you can use it for, like if you use Gmail, and if you have a percentage in there, then everything after the percentage means it will tag it to that folder. I'm not sure, but something like that.
Liam,
Or plus, I don't know.
Liam Hanks 87, thanks for the follow earlier. I didn't say anything because I was going to wait to see whether you're going to start yelling at people or actually you were a real person. So welcome and thanks for sharing. He shared a comment there about Gmail addresses, but then he said forget it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna create an email address with percentage in it just for fun now.
Yeah, I don't know where it's for, but anyway, it seems to be possible. And actually, this is not working anyway because nowadays you can have Chinese characters in there, Arabic letters in there. So this is just for.
What's the character base for that then?
What do you mean?
Well, is that UTF? Like, is it UTF-8?
UTF-8.
Okay.
I think, or 16. No, I think it's all in UTF-8.
Okay.
So pretty much matching email addresses has become way more complicated. You can't really do it anymore.
Liam Hanks says the only thing he might yell out is "Hello" to Peter. He says, "I'm in all caps, big fan of Regular Labs extensions."
Okay.
Liam,
All caps makes it easier. Then you can do it just in case sensitive mode.
Liam,
thank you.
Liam, we're gonna go on. I'm gonna post a link to this Zoom meeting, so you get a chance to come on and speak yourself if you want in a little while. But
yeah. So should I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So we've covered this one. This is just the start of a string. This is any letter, number, or any of the other characters. And then we have an actual @ sign. So we've covered this part. We've covered this part. Then the domain part, they say it has to be this, which means any letter, any number, a dot, or an underscore. And then once or more times. And then an actual dot. That's this one. And then here it says it has to have a letter. And then here we say it has to be 2 or more times. So this was the other syntax we discussed. So this would be 2 to 5 times, but here it says 2 or more. And then the end of the string. So this whole Chinese-looking string boggles the mind. If you break it down, it's not that complicated. And in my code, I use a lot of regular expressions because a lot of my extensions are plugin-based stuff, like articles anywhere, for instance. You've got like this category, and then it has some data tag goals, syntax like this, but this is just one variation, and it could be split up, and there could be p tags after it, in front of it. So there's a lot of different ways these tags can be in your content, and the only way to really search for them in a reliable way is using regular expressions. And then an actual regular expression for articles is pretty complex. I can show you, by the way. I'll just
look into the secret vault.
Yes. So this is PHP Storm. This is what I code in.
You just store or storm?
Storm.
Okay.
PHP Storm.
Okay.
Which is pretty much Notepad++ on steroids and project-based stuff and linking between files and everything. Let's see. We have to go into the system. Articles anywhere. And I'll just do in the params, I guess it was. Okay, Regex. There we go. Just print it out. And then go to my local setup. And this is going to be a lot of code. Here we go. So this is the regular expression to find the articles anywhere tags. Which is crazy, I know. And I don't get this at all if I look at this. I really have to break it down. So that's a lot of code, and this is actually the code creating it. And here you can see I've got placeholders for different stuff.
Now, I do remember watching that one video that of you speaking at, I think, one of the Joomla conventions or what it was, where you were talking about when you're programming, because computers are so fast and internet's so fast now, instead of using just a couple of letters to represent something and you come back to it a couple months later and you don't remember what it is, you said just use words, and so it's easier to read afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I actually pasted it from the front end of the site, and then it's stripping out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the actual code. It's a bit longer. This wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
So it's actually this, and here you can see that I'm referencing stuff. So it's complex.
Yeah. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, exactly. So where were we? That was so that was a domain. This was this string, which you can kind of break down now. I guess all of you are watching this into something that you do understand, which means you can also kind of create this stuff as well. Maybe not on the first go, but there's enough documentation out there to find stuff. It's really irritating this. You don't see it, but I've got this bar at the top of my screen.
Oh, for the call?
For the call thing.
Yeah. It might, if you minimize... What are you trying to click on?
Well, I've tried to get to my tabs in the browser. But it's in front of
I can see them.
Oh, I can move it. Okay, I've got it.
But that just example that you gave there was interesting because years ago I had a neat little program where you could paste all kinds of, it was an email stripper. It would strip emails out. Like you just paste text in or emails and it would show you the emails that were in it. And I suppose someone might use it for farming emails, but I actually used it for getting emails out of code from my subscribers and stuff like that, and worked really well. And then many years ago it stopped working, and but so here's another example where you could just create something and save it and paste things in and get an email right out without having to hunt and peck or something like that. I think it must have been doing it from maybe it was a table that I had exported or in the process, and I just wanted the emails. I didn't want the commas or whatever names, but anyways it worked well, and so clearly that's something you could work your way up to.
So I'm just trying to figure out why this isn't working yet.
So you can go to sleep later on tonight.
Well, I think it's this one, because this syntax is known to be a bit dodgy.
While you do that, do you have any other examples prepared or anything to move on to next?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to post the link to the Zoom here.
So if there's questions or
get in and do our regular hangout or talk about whatever, and I have that. There we go. If you want to join us on Zoom and start the 40-minute death count, there's the link right there. We'll be in there for a little bit, and so I don't know if you need an account with Zoom. It's free, but you can click on that and jump in and talk to Peter, ask your questions, and just generally hang out like we do at the end of these live streams. So I know Vinny's all registered in there, and don't know about Andy, but and also at this point too, last week when we start recording this, my voice was very loud, louder than other people talking. So what I will do too here, I might just have to play around just a little bit with my volume control. So once we do get chatting, if I'm super loud and everyone else is quiet, I need to quieten myself down because otherwise it's very hard to follow on the recording, I found afterwards. So
okay,
we'll keep working on that. But we'll just listen for some bings as people enter in here. Well, so while we're waiting for that, thank you very much, because that's a big help for building a shelf for how to do this stuff and where to put things, and especially these great tools for being able to test and look at things first.
I actually use this to clean up stuff like I showed, but also if you have like subtitle files. Downloaded the A-Team series a few months ago.
Okay.
And then you get all these subtitle files, or in Dutch or in English, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I actually created a whole set of stuff to clean that up.
Okay.
Because most of them have like this stuff like when music is playing, it says music playing,
yeah.
or this person says this. And let's see, where do I never remember which tab it is. Yeah, here. So this is my, in Sublime, you can create a like a macro thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this gets run by the, if I press a key combination, it runs a bunch of stuff, all the cleanup subtitle stuff. So here it's finding this and replacing it with this. And this thing is actually just this, but it's, as you can see, complaints. So it's escaping, double escaping stuff. That's pretty much just a bit. So here it's fixing new lines after numbers and finding stuff that should be removed, adds in there, or capital stuff at the start of a line.
Okay.
Removing them, stuff like that.
So you just slowly find it and add it, and
yeah. And this is all run in like 1 second. It does all these after each other, and then I've got a clean subtitle file. So you can do pretty cool stuff with it. But even the simple stuff, as like I showed earlier, with just copy pasting a list like this and preparing it for your whatever you need it for.
Yeah.
Like we did here. We can just move that and then do a replace like that.
Oh, look what I just figured. I finally figured out how to make it full screen. Woohoo!
Oh. Good idea.
The other thing that people know will be interested to, well, I'll talk about that in a little bit later. All right, let's see what else we've got. Managed participants. We still only have 2. We haven't had to come in Zoom, but it's all right, everybody. We will wait because it's probably take a little bit to set up a membership if you need to do that, and install it in your browser and all that. So. While you're doing that, I'll just point out to everybody that I did figure out last week. They were talking about, see, I can make myself a bit bigger. Remember last week we were wondering why my office was backwards, and I didn't think it was backwards, and then I realized later that it was backwards. I found the magic button, which is enable mirror effect. So that's how it was last week.
Cool.
And this is how it is always. So I had a good laugh when I figured that out.
So no questions.
No questions. Yeah, well, you did a pretty good and thorough job. I know my mind was blown about 1/3 of the way through. I did keep up, and I did recover also. But
good acting.
Good acting. Part of good acting is, oh no, let's see here. Oh, there's a third participant in here. Liam is in here, so let me unmute you, and I think you can turn your camera on. Hey, Liam. Uh-oh.
Well, he sounds like a Smurf.
It sounded like he said, "Can you hear me?" But it sounded all very sped up and jammed together. So, but we've also got okay, and then this is me learning Oh, here's chat. Okay, so Liam, you can also, if you want, chat down here. And you might just be working out your sound, your microphone settings or whatever. So we've got time. Vinny says, thanks for sharing that laugh. Which laugh was that?
You only had one.
I don't know. I laughed a couple of times through here.
I think you should be able to hear me now.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we hear you now, Liam. Liam, where are you calling from?
In Nova Scotia, Canada.
Oh, and I'm here in Victoria, BC.
Hey, look at that.
On the left coast.
I'm going to spare you my video feed, though. I'll just join by audio.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We can hear you.
Peter, I don't have a question, but I thought I'd just jump in and add in a little thing. When I was first learning regular expressions, I felt like I could do everything and anything. It was the solution to all of my problems. And then I started to realize, especially in PHP, and I'm sure it's the case in other languages as well, that for certain things, there are often better solutions. So if you're trying to analyze a file name in PHP, there's things like file path info that kind of break it down more easily than trying to create a regular expression for it. So just something to be aware of as well. You can fall into traps with regular expressions.
Yeah, that's very true. Yep. Yeah, I found that myself as well. That you write a whole regular expression for something and then find out that it's in core PHP. Yeah, been there.
So, Liam, what's your Joomla story?
I discovered Joomla 10 years ago, 11 years ago, for my personal website, and it's turned into a full-time job and more.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you're building sites for a living?
I manage primarily a university's website through Joomla, and then I do freelance projects as well, with mostly through Joomla as well.
Cool. What's the university?
I'll just keep that to myself.
Oh, okay. Sure, that's fine. There's only 3 on the East Coast anyways, isn't there?
Well, I've given you my province there. I'm working for one of the 9 in Nova Scotia.
Oh, okay. Well, we just have to search and view the code, unless they're all done in Joomla. But no, that's cool. Hey, John. Let's see. I don't know if John. Let's see here. John Moholt's in here. I don't see a microphone for you, John, in order to activate you. So I don't know if you have sound or if connected with sound, but I'm sure you'll figure out the settings, especially if Zoom's just starting. Great. So, Liam, how did you find out about the live stream today?
I follow Peter on Twitter.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Post it on there. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it was good that I did make that thumbnail then, Peter.
Yeah, told you.
I had to wait a little while to get the pencil guy. And, Peter, you did not do that thing that you said you'd do a couple of times during the session. Remember?
What?
You said you were going to do that a couple of times.
Oh, look here.
Oh, there it is. How long has it been there?
It's been there the whole time.
Oh, well. Apparently I'm not... I got a lot of things. I got a lot of things on my mind here. Great. But I think it's I appreciate the work that that you do, Peter, and that so many other people do that allow us to make a living doing this stuff, or have that option for it to become an income, because it's certainly not something that I ever thought that I would be doing, but it's so fun. And when Joomla clicks for you and you start doing stuff, and then you start finding people that you can do it for, and then you start getting into some of the options that different extensions have. I mean, not just yours, but so many people's. Then it's like, hey, look I can do something with this. This can be fun plus something else. So
Yeah.
The image of your mirror effect the entire time. Yeah, that's what Vinny was laughing about, me sharing the image of my mirror effect the entire time. So that was the whole. You could watch last week. It became a preoccupation. One of the further things. John, I still don't see an option for you to speak, but you are certainly welcome to. I think you can probably see the chat if you still want to say anything in there, or if you disconnect or come back or whatever like that, just give her a try. We've got plenty of time before what's this program? Zoom. Before Zoom pulls the plug on us. They're very polite about it. They put a little window up at the top and warn you about the number of minutes left. And he's laughing at the entire time. Peter's puppets. They're not really puppets. They're just stickers. It's very very one dimensional. So
Look, this is how sad I am. I actually prepared this at home.
yeah, I could put it on the. I give you enough props there with just putting that sticker on my drinking bottle that I often have there anyway. So, and then put that there as well. So Liam, you are full time doing that now. Do you run your own server? Do you host on shared hosting for your own projects? Obviously, the university is probably on a server, but
Yeah, the university self-hosts, and I've been hosting most of my sites through one-in-one, but I've started looking at cloud access as very interesting hosting.
yeah, oneandone.com. I might have a very long, sad, bitter story about that. So, couple of months.
I've always had a good experience.
A couple of months.
Cloud Access has some really interesting tools for doing site backups and things.
They sort of have their own control. I won't, because cPanel is control panel, but they sort of have their own. I did see that stuck to your forehead there, Peter. So, but they sort of have an in-house control panel, don't they?
Cloud Access.
No, one-in-one.
One-on-one, yes. Yeah, well, they both do, actually, yeah.
I ran into a situation where I was helping, I was moving a business over to my server, and I moved their mail over. I'd done it all properly. I changed the name servers in the host on one-on-one, and instead of putting in my two name servers and removing the old ones, they added my two to the 6, to the 4 that were there. So that was just one of the things. And then so mail was not going where it's supposed to, and then people were blocking, putting on lists because they weren't the proper IPs. And unfortunately, this was a company where it was one of those jobs where you go in and nobody knows what's going on. You're getting passwords and that. So their go-to position was to blame whoever it was that was trying to fix everything. So, it was horrible. And then that was the beginning. So Cloud Access, do they use cPanel?
No, they also have their own interface.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. They specialize, I guess, in Joomla and WordPress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you do, Peter? Where do you host your site?
I'm with SiteGround.
Okay, SiteGround.
Yeah, been there for 5 years, I think now.
Okay.
So pretty happy with them.
Now, when someone is updating, look, here, Vinny's here.
Yep.
Vinny.
Yeah, I've been here a little while. You just haven't noticed.
Sorry.
I did.
Just a second.
You muted him.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I unmuted him, but then he went back to mute.
I mute my mic when you're talking so you don't hear the background sound. I don't need to have my mic on all the time.
All right. Don't be bitter.
Yeah, this is me being bitter. Okay.
Hey, Vinny, you're from Vermont, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I put Vermont on the thumbnail last week.
But you use the state of Vermont, the government logo.
Well, listen, I searched for Vermont logo PNG. I was hoping something would come up like the Big Apple for New York or something, but that's like the best I could find. So I just
No, that's just our state logo.
Well, you send me whatever you want and I'll slap it on.
It's fine.
Anyway,
so giving you a hard time.
So Peter, your site's on SiteGround. When I'm on myjoomla.com and then I upload like 40 sites, update 40 sites, and all the regular labs extensions are updating, where does that come from?
That's on a subdomain of mine.
On SiteGround?
Yeah, on SiteGround.
Oh, okay.
So all my zips are somewhere on a SiteGround server, just including my website.
So when you post an update, and like sometimes you go on there and you see that you've got 4 things you've updated, and what's the load like then? Because you must notice people waking up and then seeing and then updating things.
Yeah, I've got a pretty large package at the SiteGround which can handle it. I don't monitor it,
Okay.
so I wouldn't have a clue how much the load is. Not enough to crash the server, at least.
Okay. How did you end up?
Even then, it's
Sorry.
not an extreme large number of people doing it at the same time. I do have thousands of users, but they don't all do it at the same second, so it's not very impressive.
How did you get to be one of the ones on my Joomla that auto updates? Because you're on there with Akiba, and what are the other ones?
That's pretty much just an XML file. So if it installs, it adds it to the database where to get the updates from, and pretty much any developer can do that.
But what
there's only
what I was wondering was, how did you end up being one of the few on there that you can choose, because as a trusted one?
There's a trusted one.
Yeah. Did you know that on?
Where does it say that?
I'm just looking for it right here.
I think what he's asking is how is regular labs, your extensions, able to be updated in my Joomla where there's not a whole lot of.
Sorry, I missed the my Joomla part. I thought in your Joomla website.
Oh, sorry, I meant not my Joomla, myjoomla.com. Yeah.
I'm the translator for Tim.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Vinny takes me out for coffee every now and then, helps me sit down safely, and then gets it and brings it to the table. So.
So that was indeed my Joomla. So he contacted me, or the other way around. He contacted me. Like, how can we do this? So I just gave him a URL, which he then queries, which tells him what extensions have what versions and where to download it from. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the list here. I'll pop it over here just for a change in the screen.
But personally, I don't use my Joomla or any updater because, I've pretty much only got one website.
Okay. But yeah, so it's Akiba Backup, Akiba Admin Tool, so that's the same company. JCE Editor, and then all extensions from regularlabs.com. And then the other two are Install from Web and WebLinks extension package, but they're supported. So you're in a special company there.
But if you show that again.
No. But.
Where is it gone?
Right there.
It's very. I see that Akiba there has a logo in front of it. And I don't.
All right.
I should email him.
Yeah, I should email him. I might wait till this is on Joomla and I'll just send it to him. I'll start it right out there. And that's see, now I didn't notice that.
But Finny tuned in. Doesn't he have a question? Did you follow anything I said about the regular expressions, or was it all too complicated?
It was very complicated. It's one of those things where, no, it's not your fault. It's regular expressions that it's something I need to spend more time with, and using some of your extensions, I've come to recognize the need to learn some of that. I do stuff with forms, and I have to find other people's code for regular expressions to validate them. So it's something I need to learn personally.
Yeah.
But there's just so much to it.
There is, but you can start pretty simple and use it as much as you can.
I was playing along in Notepad++, and it doesn't highlight as well as Sublime does. So
yeah. So for the highlighting, you could use that website I was using for the which shows you what it's replacing and stuff, or just buy a Mac.
And that's one thing I won't do.
No, I get that.
Who's that? Liam, did you say to buy a Mac?
No, I did.
Who said that?
Peter.
I heard you say that. I heard someone else chime in and say, or just do that. Okay.
No, that was the voices in your head.
Hey, yeah, I got a lot on the go here.
Including all those voices. Yeah, so what I didn't get into at all was how you can use them in Joomla, and a couple of my extensions support regular expressions. So that makes it a lot more powerful if you can do the basic stuff in there as well. Like also for URL matching and that kind of stuff. So not just DB replacer and ReReplacer, but also in like Advanced Module Manager that you can assign modules based on URLs with a regular expression or whatever.
Really?
Like we can do that, or is that just a result of us using the options in the back?
You can do that now. Now you know regular expressions.
You can also do like I do and chain 3 or 4 different regular labs extensions together to get the result you want with a regular expression.
Yeah, and break your site.
And how are you doing that, Liam?
Very complicatedly.
and Peter, did you say and break your site?
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's great to break.
It is a risk, especially with updates.
Yeah, Peter, do you ever break stuff?
Never.
Andy, where's Andy? How come Andy's not in here talking?
Andy just told me on Skype that he's a bit busy. He has to go to leave the country tomorrow.
Andy is who's Andy Bad? Who is he? Andy Badwool
Andy Badwool
on Twitch. He is working with Peter on documentation and basically getting Peter to change all of his favorite extensions the way he wants them. Is that how it works, Peter?
Yep, that's how it's working. So he's keeping me busy.
So there's been a few times that we've been online and Peter has done something and then he's broken it. So that's why I asked for Andy to come on and correct Peter's statement that he doesn't break things. All right, hey, so you're showing, where are you in there?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, let me practice making this full screen here. That's not it. There was a way that I could get rid of us.
That's not that necessary.
Okay, well, I know, but I like to know how to
like watching.
I like to figure out things eventually. I mean, you don't need to see me at this point.
So I'm in Advanced Module Manager now. I can create a new module or edit an existing one. And in the assignments, you go down to the URLs. Sorry. It's much too much stuff in here. Then you can use regular expressions in your URL with a big fat warning, nearly Ativa style. Then you can do stuff like, I want to show it on all URLs that contain cats or dogs, like that.
Okay.
And have an optional slash behind it or whatever you want to do. So you can use it there as well.
Nice.
And these assignments or conditions are in a couple of other extensions as well, even in ReReplacer. So you can use regular expressions for your ReReplacer search and also assign it by a regular expression to URLs or whatever. So there's a lot in there. By the way, sorry?
I was just going to say, using it in Advanced Module Manager, what's the risk of, what are you going to break?
You can't really break anything here. Well, I'm not sure actually if you have something that doesn't work, like broken regular expression.
I guess at the top, if you had matching method to all and you have it wrong, it won't show anywhere.
No, if the regular expression doesn't work, it will fail, but it shouldn't throw an error. No. So then it just doesn't work. It doesn't do anything.
Okay.
So you can't really break anything with this. It's just you need to make sure it's a working regular expression, and there's no feedback here for if it's not an actual working regular expression.
And that works on any URL, regardless of what the system's using, like if it's SH404 SEF or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is beside the topic, but you see me scrolling through all these options, which are a lot.
Yeah.
You probably don't need them on all your websites. What you can do and should do is go to the options and go to show assignments and switch everything off you don't want to use.
And where did you, now your full screen's not showing up on that. I think you're still zoomed in a bit from your previous thing there. So you were in Advanced Module Manager, went to...
So I went, well, if you're here, you can go directly to the options.
Okay.
Advanced Module Manager. Advanced Module Manager, it's like, or you can go to the global configuration, go to the Advanced Module Manager, and here you have to show assignments.
Yeah.
So anything you switch off here will then not be visible in the list.
All right. So how did you come up with the idea to do that?
To do what?
Well, it's saying, oh, this is a long list. I should just hide them.
Because it's a long list.
Well,
Because it's a long list, I thought.
alrighty.
Searching, and there's a lot of options there that are very cool, but not applicable to every setting.
Yeah.
The geolocation stuff and IP addresses in your site might not need that ever. So then you can just switch them off here. And then
Now the
after changes. So now they're gone.
Now the one that said zoo, what is zoo?
Zoo is like K2. It's
Okay.
CCK.
Okay, so it's something. So I suppose,
And
yeah.
these will only show up if you have it actually installed.
Oh, see, that's just what I was just gonna say. If you don't have K2 installed,
Yeah, so then it doesn't show. But even if you do have it installed, you might not want it there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So all the third-party stuff is...
well, I was going to think it'd be great if it only showed up if you had it installed, but apparently I've never noticed it there because I don't have it installed. So
yeah, so that's that. But all the other stuff is there by default, which is probably a good thing because otherwise you don't know it's there.
Very
But you
cool.
can-
I've only recently started using Advanced Module Manager, and I do not know how I lived without it, to be perfectly honest.
I can imagine.
Of course you can't.
But Congratulations.
Well, if it only ever just allowed you to select what should only be on the front page, that would be worth it alone, because that's always been such a big problem. It's like, oh, you select main menu, but then it starts showing up other places, and it's like, oh, why is it doing that? Da, 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 da. So that alone is worth the price of admission, just to have the control over that. So,
well, I think for me, what I'm going to use it on is on my one of the features I'm going to use on my podcast show is that a different banner showing what the episode, what show is going to be playing that day. I can have the module only show up on Monday, and then the next one will show up on a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's great. And that's, actually, it's one of the fun things that I show people, because I have a range of clients, but a lot of people I end up in conversations, I tell them, oh, look, once you get your site set up, let's suppose you want to have something show up only on Christmas or only during winter. You can set it and it'll automatically change, and you don't have to always be babysitting it. And that's, I think that's one of the cool things that a lot of people that aren't used to the idea that they can manage their own website, when you start telling them you can set it up automatically, then the lights start to go on, and they think, oh, wait a second. Okay, well, that's pretty good, because I think a lot of people don't do more with web stuff because they don't have the money to pay someone to constantly, to get up Boxing Day and turn off the Merry Christmas thing that was on there. And they start to get an idea of what they can do. And then, that's where people that are building Joomla sites can move in and help them to get that set up and have a bunch of people just to support.
Exactly.
Conditional content is great for that too.
Oh, man, I'm so glad you created that program.
Thank you.
It was one that I wanted years ago.
Conditional content. I don't think I've used that much.
And it's, I don't know how old it is now. Let me see.
I mean, it could all be done with Sorcerer and some custom PHP and things, but conditional content makes it...
Which is what originally Peter had helped me out with one time. He had helped me out and created all that with Regex, doing that same thing, but this makes it a lot easier.
I made this 2 years ago, first version.
First version of what?
Of conditional content.
Oh, okay.
Man, time flies. So Advanced Module Manager was the first one that had this whole set of assignments in there. And once I had that, it was pretty easy to use it in different scenarios. So also Advanced Template Manager is pretty much the same thing, but it's also in ReReplacer. We've got this, let's see, where are my components? ReReplacer and conditional content, or a content templater.
Bad news, Peter.
The same publishing assignments. Sorry?
Is it bad news? Zoom just popped up a message saying that because it's my first group call, they've removed the 40-minute limit.
Right?
Well, it's great for me because it's still only 1 o'clock for me.
So here you have the same publishing assignments as you find in Advanced Module Manager. And then, with conditional content, indeed, it was always possible to do that with ReReplacer. But this makes it a bit easier to use, which is handy.
Yeah, well, there are tons of your extensions that I've not even really cracked open to use or anything like that. I've got...
Still have to when you're doing the video stuff.
Well, yes, exactly, and that's part of why I was excited to be doing the the videos for your site, because it's like, man, now I'll sit down and I'll learn this stuff and do some other things. But I know when let me just bring up another screen here. What do I not live without?
There are almost too many options. I find myself sometimes having to decide whether it's actually better to solve a particular problem with ReReplacer or with a snippet or with something else. And sometimes it's kind of a toss-up of what the best solution really is.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, really, in ways.
Like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do here's what I usually always put in. Always do Advanced Module Manager, Better Preview, Better Trash, Cache Cleaner, DB Replacer just because it's there if I ever need it. Dummy Content, I've used that one. But then a ReReplacer, and I bet you, and I've never installed nothing on a client site, but those are pretty much my go-tos just when I'm setting up a site. And the extension manager is so great. I just install that and I just say, I want that, want that, want that, want that, install it. And
for me, Snippets always makes it on one of my sites.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I end up using tabs and slides only because it's easier to use that than do the Bootstrap or UIKit code. A lot of the times, it's much easier just to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a bit of a problem with those extensions when Joomla 4 happens, if it will ever. Because I'll probably have to rewrite them from scratch. So my front-end, so my front-end extensions, especially sliders, tabs, and tooltips, are using Bootstrap and jQuery, and type coupling with Bootstrap is going to be gone in Joomla 4. So then it doesn't really make sense anymore to force people to use it. So I probably have to rewrite them from scratch and do the whole JavaScript handling stuff as well, which is not the strongest thing.
Is a good time to just combine them all into one big massive extension.
Maybe, but then I'll sell less.
Well,
modals.
That would be pretty crazy to have everything all in one place. I mean, it would become like.
Well, then you can call it what, everything?
Everything.
Yeah, the problem with that is that they're packed full of options.
Yeah.
And then you have one big giant thing juggling around even more options. That would be.
Yeah, like for instance, with Virtumart. Or what's another thing that was basically its whole other thing inside of Joomla? Like it could almost be a standalone thing, right? I mean, it was so complex in its setting up.
Most CCKs and shops do that.
Yeah. So, and then you tend to just get overwhelmed by it. So, I mean, I was just kind of joking about making them all one big extension because I thought that would be a nightmare. But, I mean, if someone wants to replace something or looking for a source for doing tabs or something like that, to just pick it up, and the free version, all that's going to be much easier. Plus, the other thing is that doing one training video for one extension would probably be about 6 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the rate that we go, it would probably take 2 years to finish. So
we're already at extension number 2.
Yeah.
We've only got 28 others or whatever it is. So we'll be finished in 2024 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, Peter, I really do appreciate. I know Tim said this before, but I really do appreciate the work you put into your extensions and the support you do on your forums and the fact that you make yourself available for the most part, as much as you can with juggling, your home life and everything else. I just want to say I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much. My pleasure.
And I still buy
second that. I mean, there are things that these extensions allow us to do that basically would not be able to be done otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it sounds very cool for me to do that, but it's from an eco-centric place anyway, because I needed them first. So most of my extensions were created because I had a need, and then made a business out of that.
So basically, you're just politely saying it's not about us.
Exactly.
Well, we'd like to thank you for the privilege of being able to purchase your work.
Yeah. So no, I'm very very privileged and humbled about how this whole thing went, because when I started, it was all voluntary stuff in my evening hours, and then I had 3 jobs at one time, this being one of them, which gave me no income whatsoever. And then I had this weird donation model where people could buy the extensions, but they didn't get any other version, so it was kind of weird. And after I made the switch to actually having to sell my extensions and go full for this, it's been a blast. It's gone very well from day one, and I don't mind not having clients anymore, which is great, just having users. So I don't make any websites for people anymore, and just this. And probably the last year, I've been making pretty relaxed hours in this as well. So I think I've averaged about 30 hours a week, till I took on Andy for work. And now making crazy hours again. So yeah, I'm pretty relaxed. I've got a beautiful home now and a beautiful family, and I've got a big garden with goats in the back, and enjoying life. So thank you everybody for doing that for me.
Mary will be happy to hear about the goats.
Yeah. Why would she be happy?
Well, Mary,
at the other side of the world.
Mary just likes goats. So, and goats is a reoccurring joke with Mary, because she's got some goats on her farm, and so goats come anytime goats is mentioned, we have to mention Mary.
Yeah. Well, we've got 5 now.
Send us some pictures of your goats. I'll send them to Mary. She'll laugh.
My friend, I'm very happy my wife isn't here to hear about other people having goats.
Oh.
You've been pressured.
It's been discussed. I'm resisting.
Is that because you don't cut the grass enough?
No, I cut the grass lots.
Okay.
We just don't really have a setup that would allow it.
Yeah. Are you close to the coast? I mean, it's Nova Scotia, so it's not that far, anyways. But
if my office were on the other side of the building, I would have a view of the water.
Oh, nice, nice.
So what now?
Well, we have this free use of unlimited time on.
Oh dear.
So I think, is anyone up for karaoke?
Well, I am a karaoke DJ.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Vinny's going to talk a lot more about his site. I'm really excited about his project that's coming up with Old Time Radio. So
it's coming, and it features a number of regular extensions software. So,
oh, great.
Yeah.
Of course, every one of my sites does.
Cool. Well, yeah, we can wrap it up. Thanks, Peter.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
If there's any more questions,
yes. So
throw them my way.
for anybody who's watching the encore performance on YouTube, if you have questions for Peter, leave them in the comments below, and we'll monitor that. And don't forget, if you've made it this far and haven't subscribed yet, oh man, subscribe, ring that bell so you get notifications. And we'll do, I like this new format for a Watch Me Work live stream, because especially when it was you typing and it wasn't working and you had to figure it out on the fly, I thought, oh great, it's not me this time. So that's
and now it's Watch Us working. You should change the title.
Yeah, watch. Well, yeah. What do you think I should change the title, or I was just figured you would be the me. You would be today. Give people a chance to be the me and watch me work. So
watch someone working.
Yeah. So yeah, watch someone working. I guess it's not a lot happening around here. Yeah. So I'm totally open if you guys have anything else to show, or Liam, if you got something that you like to do or want to show people or whatever. I'm totally into it for this. So. Crickets.
I was just here for the regular expressions.
Oh, okay. You had me at regular expressions. Good. Excellent. Alrighty. Well, thanks everybody. And
my pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you very much, Peter. And I'm really looking forward to getting this on up with the other videos, because I think it's going to draw a lot of attention, not just from Joomla, but for regular expressions. And that was a great thing to, I know I'll be watching it over and over again, picking things up. Or else maybe I'll just get a hold of your home number. I don't know. So.
You know where to contact me.
All right, everybody. Thanks. And as usual, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.